following conversation is with Joe Rego. He's been a chef for over 30 years in places like Atlanta, Georgia, New Haven, Connecticut, and New Bedford. He has won multiple food competition programs such as Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen. In my early career, he was one of the first chefs I ever worked under and is a great friend. Without further ado, here is Joe Rego. I want to just open it up with, you've been a chef for over 30 years.
Over 30 years, yep.
What's the most challenging thing you have ever had to overcome in your time in the industry?
A lot of things actually, but one of the things that I had to overcome is just, learn to try to be as patient as I can in this business because it's such a high demand type of profession that, in my younger days, I'd lose my patience, not have the patience to teach, to lead. And within the years that you go through of working in the kitchen, you have to learn to be patient. And those are like probably one of the toughest thing I had to really work on is to have patience in this business.
How'd you get there? Like how long did it take you to really
I think it all comes with maturity. I think as you mature, in not only as a person but in the profession, you kind of start to learn that if you have more patience to do things around the kitchen, things become easier all around.
Yeah, I agree big time. Because I feel like whenever something's going awry or someone loses patience, it's like the least productive we could possibly be.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when you have patience and you have to kind of lead your line and your workmates, and they see that they have a leader that is understandable, regardless of the mistakes they make, and you're patient about it. If they repeatedly are making the same mistake, then that becomes a problem. But you have to learn to have patience to lead your team, because that's what's going to make you successful.
For sure. And I feel like a lot of times people are like one and done. Like, you make, a big critical error and it's like you're out. Like
Yeah.
you're out of here.
Yeah, I've worked in kitchens like that, that they didn't give you much of a chance. It was like you made a major mistake, and then you make another mistake, and then you're just gone.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
So you're off the schedule.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have patience. A lot of chefs don't have patience, and they don't know how to deal with that.
And that just came with time.
That just came with time. The other thing too is like, you have in this business, it's becoming harder and harder to find not only good cooks but good passionate cooks, people who have the fire within themselves to succeed in this business. And that's why it's hard to find people these days. And if you don't have the patience, people are either going to quit on you or you're going to end up firing them. And then to replace that person, it becomes even a bigger problem.
Yeah. And it's expensive to keep retraining people over and over and over again.
Yeah. You're just, pissing money out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, time is money. So it's like if you got to get new people in every week or every couple of weeks or something, and then retrain them from scratch, it's just you can't keep doing it.
It takes time from your other duties that you have to maintain, and that could be critical. So
and not just in the kitchen too. Like if you're spending so much more time like at work, like it's family life struggles.
Yeah, everything struggles. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So substance abuse, I know that's like, we can just jump right into that. I have some lighter questions later on, but I figured we'll just jump into that because that's an important one. So I think substance abuse has been kind of folded in with the service industry for, a long time.
It's a high demand job. It causes a lot of stress, but that's why people turn into bad drug habits, alcoholism, and it's not even that. Sometimes it's just like you work late nights. You want to kind of like have some time with your workmates outside of work. You go out drinking till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, come back and do it again. It just becomes a routine, and you get caught up on it. Same things. With doing drugs. I've worked at places where people are overdosing on heroin, that I had to revive them. And it's just, it's becoming extremely difficult to try to find people that really just focus on their career, and not create those bad habits. But it's within the industry. You see it almost in every place. And it's, I feel like it's because you work late hours, you get out at night, like late night, you're all wired from service, and you just, a lot of the times you just want to keep on going, just
Yeah.
want to keep on going. Some people don't have a shut off switch, and you just keep on going. Then you keep on doing the same routine, the same things, and then you just get caught up on it.
Yeah, and it's super super easy to get caught up. And I think what you said is really important. Is it really is every kitchen. Like I think maybe some people might think it's like, oh no, there's like it really is
Yeah.
like every kitchen I've worked in. There's been
Yeah.
some form of substance abuse, and it's heavy to work
Yeah.
when that stuff is going on, and what's going on, and
Hmm.
like yeah. So how has it really affected you? Like substance abuse, has it affected you personally, and then just like the people you've known around you?
Yeah, no, it has affected me personally. A few years ago, I had an OUI, and it was just you. Sometimes you just like you just really get caught up, and you don't know when to stop, and then you hit rock bottom, and then you start really thinking about you know the things that you do on a daily basis, your habits, your bad habits. You get caught up in it, and sometimes you don't know how to switch that up until you really hit rock bottom, and then you start analyzing your life and see what you can do to try to save yourself from not having those habits. Ended up quitting everything for 2.5 years. Drinking heavily and all that stuff. And it was not only me, I saw other workmates, they were doing the same thing, you know. But thankfully I was able to just, come out of that hole and be able to, live a pretty comfortable life, you know.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't realize they're like at rock bottom, like when they're in that situation. So it's
Hmm.
good that you're able to like be like, wow, this is rough. Like
Yeah.
I need to make a change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. The first step is to acknowledge that you have a problem, you know. And once you identify and really dig deep on of the things that you need to do to be able to function on a daily basis, it takes a lot of hard work. It's difficult, but if you're determined in your mind of the things that you want, not only for now but for the future, you work on them. You work on them, and you work on them hard because you want to attain that goal. The things that you promised you wanted to do for yourself to better yourself.
Yeah, and it's not that's right. It's not even for anybody else. It has to really come from within. Like you like I have a problem. I need to lock in on this, or
Yeah,
your life's going to be shortened. You're not going to be as happy for the rest of your life. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
heavy.
Like I said, the first step is identifying that you have a problem.
Yeah,
And then once you identify it and you kind of have a plan game of what you're going to do to better yourself, and then you stick through it. Stick through it.
for sure. Um, One thing you touched on in there too, which I think is really tough, is like it wasn't just you. It's like all your coworkers doing
Yeah,
it too. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
it's really easy to just
yeah,
like be part of the crowd. Everybody's doing it. It's all cool, but you know, like maybe some of those people are like having a drink and like then they go home and they're good. But it's like if the party keeps going,
Right.
Like for some people, it really does keep going. Like I've known people where they just can't stop, and they just like go and go and go
Yeah.
until it's scary. Like
Yeah.
they're not there. Like you
Yeah.
look them in the eyes,
Yeah.
and they're
Especially
gone.
when you're young, especially when you're in your early 20s, you're in this business. I mean, I remember when I was in my early 20s that, I get out of work, I party all night till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, go home, sleep for 2 hours, and then go back and work a whole shift until the end of the night, and then you do it all over again. It's just like you feel like you're a Superman and nothing can face you, and then you get by the middle of the week, by Monday, Tuesday, you go to work and you're absolutely drained. Your brain is drained, your soul is drained, everything is draining, and you just try to recoup and try to get some rest during those couple of weekdays, and you get to the weekend, you don't know any better. You just keep doing the same
Yeah,
thing,
over and over again.
So it's a lot tougher for the younger crowd who's in this business. So I urge for those people who are in this business to really have like a good routine, a good daily routine while you're working if you want to succeed in this business. Because if you include all of those bad habits, in your early career, it can, it can make you or break you in this career. So,
That's great. Um, I completely agree. That kind of goes on to one of my questions, which was, we've both known people who have passed away from
yeah,
from this exact thing. So I wanted you to just say like, if you could say something to all the chefs out there. But I feel like you hit the nail on the head already. It's really like, that
yeah,
daily routine can be huge. But
yeah. It just, really think before you do it. Really, just really analyze what you want out of life, in about this business, because like I've said it before, it can make you or break you. You know.
yeah, long term, like short term fun
Yeah.
can ruin your long term success
Yes.
for sure with
For
stuff like
sure.
this.
For sure.
So I think that like chef life is like super glorified on social media, and like a little bit in like the Bear and like in some of Bourdain's books. Like he's really, obviously never speaking ill of the dead because love Bourdain. But I do think that substance abuse has been like hyper glorified over the past 25, 30 years. Um, do you think that's an issue for people?
Yeah. I mean, I think so for sure.
And like, yeah, it's heavy. Like I think about Carlos a lot. That's someone we
Mm-hmm.
both knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, working together with him, and like
Yeah.
that was really the first time I ever experienced anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
because I've had friends from high school like pass away and stuff, but never someone who I was with like every day, and then just
He
all of
was
a
gone.
sudden,
He was gone. Yeah.
yeah, that was a
He was
heavy
gone. Yeah.
heavy day. Great guy.
Yeah. 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 To him, he didn't have a shut off switch. It was just every day was party.
Yeah,
But he was a good soul, a good guy, a brother of ours, and now he's gone. And he was not the last. He's not the last, and this will continue to happen. I know it will. Just it's hard at times that you lose your brother that you work with every day.
yeah, yeah. I definitely have had some nights where like you can't sleep, and like you're just like, damn, bro, like I know why I can't sleep. Like I'm thinking about him, and like, and then going to sail off the next year, and then like losing Tina. It's like it was one of the cooks I was working with. It's like I'm averaging one person a year.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
not really something that there's no mention of that at school.
Yeah.
There's no mention of you're going to be losing people throughout this journey. It's like I wanted to get into this to cook, and I love food and like share it with people. Like that's really why I do it. But yeah, no one prepares you for that part of it.
No. No. Nobody pretty. You just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt and how you're going to deal with it.
Yeah. Sorry to start it off with such a heavy topic.
No, that's
I know
okay.
I
That's
know
okay.
it's important, and I want to
Yeah.
share it with more people.
Yeah. Nobody
because-
ever really talks about stuff like that. We always talk about the good stuff, but when it comes to the bad stuff, we kind of neglect it because we don't want to talk about it. but I think it's very important to analyze when there is a problem,
Hmm.
and talk about it, because a lot of these chefs, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to let you know that they have a substance abuse, and it's good to talk about it.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely hard, like, but I think it's crucial because just going to keep losing like great people,
Yeah.
like Carlos and Tina, people who are like super cool and great warm personalities, gets along with everybody. But yeah, I mean, I hope people can realize that you don't have to do that. Like you can be a chef and you can have a healthy lifestyle and like
Hmm.
you can make it work. And I'm super proud of you for you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
getting it together
Thank you. Thank you.
like big time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Because
hard. Um, it was hard, but I am proud of where I am today, um, and continue to work on myself, because just because you think you got it together now, that doesn't, you don't know what the future holds. So you have to constantly think about that. you know am I going overboard again? Am I okay? So you got to ask those questions to yourself, you know every single day, to make sure that you are on track.
mhm,
you know
yeah. So like, are you at the point where like you can have a glass of wine and enjoy it?
yeah, no, absolutely.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good because
no,
I think
yeah,
I think asking yourself that question is like super important because for some people it's like you get one glass of wine in you and like it's
yeah,
it's over. Like you're just off the rails. But being able to be like self-aware and just be like, no, I
yeah.
can enjoy this with my dinner and like
Yeah, I
I'm
think,
fine.
like I said, during those 2.5 years, I think I was able to reset my brain and my way of thinking, and really know what I want out of this business. I mean, I think that's the reason why I think I've probably been more successful in the last 5, 6 years of my life than I ever was in the other 24 years as a chef.
Do you attribute that to like kind of getting clean and like
Yeah,
really locking
yeah,
in with
yeah,
your habits and everything?
absolutely, without a doubt.
It's amazing.
You know, the
And it's
position I have today is tough, in not only physically, mentally. You have to stay extremely organized, and I attribute that position today because of the things I've worked on. So don't ever think that it's too late. It's never too late. You really got to set your priorities straight and know what you want out of life.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, what are you doing right now? What's your role right now?
So I'm a culinary director for 6 restaurants in the South Coast area right now, and pretty busy restaurants. And that's what I do. I do all the menus, do training, developing, costing, anything that pertains to a culinary director. I'm doing it 6 days a week. Yeah,
Wow, intense.
yeah,
And it's taken a long time. Like you've had a long career to get into the role that you are. But do you feel like your previous experience has like prepared you for this role?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Like, working at different restaurants, having different positions, just put me where I am today. You just don't get there. You have to go through the trenches to get there. You know.
Yeah,
So
I think tons of people want to skip the trenches. Like want
yeah,
to just like
no,
you
you
go to
got to
school and like now you're a chef, but
yeah,
no, you're
no,
not.
yeah. They have a lot. See, to me, I think that because of all the food shows on TV, that kind of like killed a little bit of the philosophy of a line cook who goes to culinary school, and then they think they're just going to be a chef. Uh, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't have gone to culinary school. I would have gone to just try to go work for the best chef in the city and knock on that door until I got in, and kind of just work there for a year and a half, 2 years, and then switch to another restaurant. Because I think, to myself, you do learn the basis of culinary foundation at school, but you really become what you become when you go work for a badass chef. And that's what I've always done. Like, is after I left Johnson and Wales, whatever city I was going to go to, I was going to go and try to work for the best chef, and that's pretty much what I did.
And it pays off in the long term because
Yes,
you learn so much.
yeah, you learn so much. You get paid shit, but at the end of the day, you're not building for the moment. You're building for the future, and that's how I thought that would in the future it would put me where I am today. Because I always try to work for the best chef in the city, wherever I was, and that's what I did.
I think it's a good philosophy for sure. So, I mean, if there was like a young person today that was, never cooked before, would you say school's worth it or no?
Yes. If they never cooked before, they don't have no clue about what cooking is about. I would say go to culinary school. Definitely a 2-year program. I don't think a 4-year program is necessary. I would do a two-year program, learn the fundamentals of cooking, and then start your career by trying to go and work for the top 5 restaurants, whatever city you are in. Even if you have to travel within the 35 mile radius, I would still do it. Because, the city that you live in might not have a reputable restaurant that you can learn a lot. So I always urge for you to travel. Or if you can, travel abroad too. That's one of the things I wish I'd done in my early career. But I didn't, and I kind of kicked myself in the ass that I didn't do that, because I think that would have put me also in another level. So
True. But, everything happens for a reason.
yeah, everything happens for a reason.
I think I like that you said, like, school is worth it, but just get the associates, like, go for 2 years and not
Yeah.
4, because, like, I was in college for 3 years because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I was just going to school. And then when I switched to the CIA, I was there with my transfer credits, and I was going to finish my 4 year, and I was going to be there for like 3 years or something like that. And then right after my externship, which was really the first like kitchen I ever worked in other than school, I was like, okay, this is bullshit. Like, I need to just get out of here, because everyone I was working with that I respected so much and like was learning so much from, I think 1 out of 10 of them went to school. So it's like I just realized, like, oh, I don't actually need to be here. I need to just start working, and like that's when I'm gonna start really shaping into like who I'm gonna be as a cook and as a chef.
Yeah,
Like in the industry, not in school.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can only learn so much.
Yeah.
Like in a classroom before you
That
need to
is
be
correct.
behind the stove and like
Exactly.
actually be in the environment.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I went to culinary school, when we had lab, which was cooking lessons, I loved that part of it. But when I had to go and do the other classes like English and history and all that stuff, I was like, I don't understand why a culinary program has these requirements that you have to take the English class, the history class. I don't understand why, because you're there to learn to cook and not learn about history. And it's just like, it's a waste of time for me.
Yeah, a waste of time and a waste of money.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they could probably squeeze the labs, because that really is the most important part, is like hands-on.
Yeah.
Getting the hand motions down and like doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you learned how to read, you learned history in high school.
Yeah.
Like, now you're trying to learn a skill. Like,
Right.
I think it should just be a little bit more dialed into like, this is
Yeah.
what we're doing. But
Exactly.
there are some good gen eds, I feel like, at school. Like, gastronomy was cool, just like learning the history of like
Mhm.
Hotep cuisine and all that stuff. Things that are like specialized for what you're doing. But yeah, I remember being in like a math class and I was like, fuck am I doing here?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I felt the same way. I actually never even went to those classes. It was just like, why am I doing this?
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go to them, but the CIA has like a strict, if you miss 2 classes, you fail automatically.
Yeah.
So I would always, or if you miss more than 2, so I would always miss 1 at the beginning, and then at the end, I would miss the second one, and then I would just show up for all the other ones. But you miss as much as you can because you're like, this is bullshit. But
Right.
also got to get the grade.
Yeah.
Not to switch up the topic, but what was it like immigrating to this country from Portugal?
Well, when I immigrated here was back in 1984. I was 12 years old. During that time, For you to be an immigrant, especially a Portuguese immigrant, because that's predominantly in New Bedford, it's all Portuguese. So at that time, there was a lot of Portuguese immigrants coming into this country, but especially in the New Bedford area. And yeah, it was hard as a kid because I got bullied pretty much every day. Uh, Kids waiting for me at the bus stop to just rough me up, and it was tough. It was tough during that time back in the early '80s. And then as I grew older, and you start learning the language and you know how to express yourself. But back then, I didn't know how to express myself. I didn't know a word of English. But I was eager to learn and be able to at least try to comprehend the language within 2 years. But it was tough back in the early '80s. Was tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Like it
Yeah, I
sounds
mean,
rough.
it's just like kids calling you a greenhorn, calling you a Portuguese, go back to your country. You got that every single day in school, outside of school. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
It's interesting to cut to today too, because that was 1984. It's obviously a long time ago now, but now New Bedford is like, you know, Portuguese all the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's more half and half. There's a lot of Latinos in New Bedford today. A lot of the Latinos from Boston, they started moving down here because of the expenses are a little bit less than they are in Boston. So a lot of them started moving down here. So I feel like I think the Portuguese community is huge, but the Latino community is also very huge.
So still Portuguese being the minority in New Bedford.
I think so. I think so. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think so.
It's such a great culture though. Like I've been enjoying like a lot of the people I've been meeting, like just through working and stuff, like are Portuguese and everybody's super nice. I grew up in Framingham for like my entire childhood to young adult life, and there was a huge Brazilian population,
Yeah,
and
huge Brazilian up there. Yeah,
yeah, and they would speak Portuguese. It's a little different Brazilian Portuguese, but
right.
moving here and then meeting all these people speaking Portuguese, it was very like, oh, this is cool. Like all my friends were Portuguese
Yeah,
speaking back home, so it was very, very natural. But I've been asking them about like Portuguese food and drinks and stuff. Like my friend Sergio just brought some of the Superbock beers and
yep,
some Sumal, and
yeah.
you know,
Superbock beer is pretty much the number one beer in Portugal.
I love the size of them. They're
Yeah,
so good.
yeah, yeah. Superbock is the number one beer in Portugal. That and Sagres, being those two. But you know, uh, talk about a little bit about the Portuguese culinary scene here in New Bedford. Um, there are definitely some great restaurants, Portuguese restaurants. One of my favorites is Novo Mundo down in the South End. They're actually getting ready to open a new place, and I love them because they make chicken like they do in Portugal, cooked on charcoal, on a spit, rotating, cooking it slowly, served with a great piri piri sauce, and that's very common in Portugal. They have shops all over the country that only sells chicken and ribs, and it's super delicious. I love it, but I feel like the culinary Portuguese culinary scene here in New Bedford, I feel like a lot of the restaurants they serve the same exact thing that like if you have like a Portuguese steak, everybody has a Portuguese steak. Everybody has a Mozambique. Everybody has a cassoulet plate. It just I feel like when especially like me, I go to Portugal every year to go see my parents. But Portuguese cuisine is like in not only on the islands but right in the mainland. You go to restaurants over there, yeah, you do see Portuguese steak on the menu, but you're never gonna see Mozambique in Portugal. People don't even know what Mozambique is. I
Really,
think Mozambique was actually a dish that was invented here in this area. There's so many dishes that are served in the Portuguese restaurants here that a lot of the restaurants in Portugal they don't sell. They Portugal is right by the ocean, and they serve a lot of seafood. And the dishes that I've had in Portugal are just completely different from what the menu is. I think New Bedford should really try to have like a very traditional uh, menu in the restaurant, that's something that you see in this village in Portugal that you can bring back and put it on your menu from another village, from the south, from the north, from the central of Portugal, from the islands. Uh, there are so many wonderful dishes that I've had that I never really served here in this area. Not in a Portuguese community. The food is good. It's great. The food is great, but I just feel like they should diversify themselves with more of the village dishes that you don't see every day,
Yeah.
So,
So, as someone who doesn't know as much about Portuguese food, like I thought, like shrimp Mozambique was like super Portuguese, but you're saying that that's more like New England Portuguese, New
yes,
Bedford Portuguese
it is.
cuisine.
It is. It is. You'll never, I promise you, you go to Portugal, you'll never see a shrimp Mozambique on the menu. And if you ask them, can you make me a shrimp Mozambique? They're going to ask you, what is that? You know? So it's different. It's just different.
What are some of
And I
the?
love shrimp Mozambique. Like, I love shrimp Mozambique. That's one of my favorite things to eat. And I'm glad that whoever invented that is a genius. But you know, I've seen recipes of shrimp Mozambique that are like with spices from Africa, because supposedly that's where it originated, and it is in Mozambique, which is in Africa. But here, the main ingredient for the shrimp Mozambique is a Goya package that is made by a Latin company. So, and that's what makes the
Sazon.
sauce not, yeah, the sazon, and that's what makes the color, the consistency of the color of Mozambique, and it's not even Portuguese. At the end of the day, you look at it, you're like, this is not Portuguese.
Wow. What are some of the dishes you'd like to see from like maybe the islands or just some of the villages? Like, what are some specific dishes that you'd really like to see come to New Bedford?
Oh man, like migas, which is kind of like of a bread dish. They actually have different parts in Portugal make different styles of migas. Like in Figueira da Foz, they make a certain style of migas. I think it's with toasted Portuguese cornbread and black eyed peas. I think there's kale in it too. But if you go to the Alentejo, the south of Portugal, it's completely different. It's basically migas is basically stale bread cooked either in pork fat, or you cook it in like a rich seafood stock. So if you have there's one that's made with pork, and there's another one that's made with seafood, and it's basically stale bread that's going to be soaked either in pork fat or some kind of stock, and then at the end, usually they whip in an egg yolk when they serve it to the guests, nice and hot, to fold in that creaminess of the egg, and then it's served usually with shrimp on top, which is actually really really good. Cilantro, garlic, really delicious.
Sounds really good.
Yeah, that's you never really see migas in the menus here. There's so many other things like rojões. That's another one. There's so many dishes. You do see piglet around here, but you really don't see like the traditional piglet the way they do it in Portugal.
Is that like suckling pig?
Either suckling pig, yeah, yeah. So you go to Portugal, it's completely different from here. The one from here is still good, but the one in Portugal, it could be also because you might be on vacation. You kind of like you're in your homeland, and you feel more relaxed. So sometimes you feel like it's better than here, but it could not be just because of the scenery and the way you're feeling about being on vacation in your homeland.
Yeah, perception is everything. Like
Yeah.
you're out there, you're like, this is where I'm from. Like I grew up here, so. But I'm sure it probably is better because a lot of the foods and proteins and produce in the U.S. are just so like genetically modified and not high quality.
Yeah,
but when you go international,
it's different.
You get the real stuff.
Yeah, it's different. It's kind of like when you're in your home country, it just feels like your cells just kind of like solidify into the earth of the ground that you're walking on. It just becomes automatic.
Yeah. And I
So
think that's like a feeling that only someone who immigrated can really get. Like when you grew up in that country for the first
right,
12 years of your life, you only really get that when you get to go back. And that's not something that like an American can really experience. You know what I
right.
mean? Like it's because America's huge and it's you're here and when you come back, it's like, well, you're just back in the States. But yeah, to have like that country that you really, really identify with must be pretty
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah. It's just I like for myself. I always try to go and kind of venture out in a little hole in the walls. I usually ask my family, like my family usually takes me to this place that they only serve two dishes. You walk in, there's huge cask of wine that probably holds about 100 gallons of wine, and there's three of them, and it's got a little thing on it, and you go over there with your clay pitcher, and they just fill it up with wine, put it on top of the table, and they serve only two things. They do a roast cabidela, which is a rice that's cooked with a farm chicken or a farm rooster, and it's braised with rice. But then at the end, they take the blood of that chicken or rooster and coagulate the blood with vinegar, and then add that on to the rice at the end. So it's got that vinegary. It's really good tasting. And that's all they serve. They serve that, and they serve a bacalhau dish, which is salted codfish with potatoes and some kind of vegetable, and that's all they have. And it's all served family style. The chicken comes in a pot. They put it in the middle of the table. They give you plates. The bacalhau, they come on this huge platter, a bunch of fillets, some potatoes around it, and it's just the best. And that's all they specialize on. And you go there every time, whatever day you're going, it's always full with people because that's what people like. People like the traditional dishes. So they drive to this place up in the mountains that only serves two dishes. And how beautiful is that?
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Most places have ginormous menus these days, like
Yeah.
front, back, multiple pages. It's like a little book. But I think there's something like super, super amazing about just like we do this. Like that's also really prevalent in like Japanese culture too. Like you go, it's like we do sushi or like we do yakitori. Like we
Right.
do, we do grilled eel and that's it. Like
Right.
you're not gonna get any chicken nuggets here. You're not getting anything
Right.
else. Like no,
Right.
nothing. Like you're coming here, you're getting this.
Yeah.
Or like the omurice guy. Like he makes one dish.
Yeah.
Omurice.
Yeah. It's like when I was in Naples, Italy, and you go to the most like famous pizza shop, and they have four pizzas on the menu, and I see people in there. They try to like, oh, can you add this to the pizza? They're like, no. It's like, no, we're not gonna add nothing to it. This is our pizza. You eat it this way, or you can go wherever you want to go. But no, we're not doing that.
No, but I love that because it's like fuck you. Like we're
Yeah.
making the food how we want to make
Yeah.
it. We like it like
Yeah.
this. You can eat
Yeah.
it or you can fuck
No,
off.
they stand by what they serve. You know what I'm saying? And when you stand by your product, your product is so over the top. Like, why am I going to make an exception to change it when I know if you eat it this way, it will be the best thing you ever eaten in your life? And people are just, so used to like changing things, and they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Can't go to those places and be like, I'm actually vegan and gluten free.
Yeah,
No.
no,
None of
not
that.
going to happen.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
What influence on Portuguese food, because it's right next to Spain, like, same kind of
Right.
region. How has like Spain influenced the food in Portugal or vice versa? Because these are nations that have been around for forever.
Yeah.
So it's
No,
like,
I always say, like, I've been to Spain numerous times, and I love Spain. I absolutely love Spain. But the cooking is, I kind of similar a little bit, but not really. You
So I
know,
guess a better question is, what are the differences since they're so close geographically? Like, what are the differences between Portuguese food and Spanish food?
I mean, Spanish, like they both are using the best quality seafood. They use it from fish to crustaceans, shellfish. They share pretty much the same ocean, and you know, there's a lot of things that are done almost the same, but I don't feel like one is better than the other. I don't feel like Portuguese food is better than Spanish food. I don't feel like Spanish food is better than Portuguese food. It's just every little village in Portugal or in Spain specializes on a certain kind of thing. Like you are, if you're down in the south region of Portugal, Valentejo, you're gonna get definitely the black pigs. You're gonna get tons of good olive oil, tons of great wine. You go to the north, it's different. You're gonna see more of like the presuntos, all the different sausages. It's a different kind of wine from the Douro region, the port wine that's made there. It's different, it's different. But like I said, I don't think that Portuguese food is better than Spanish food. I don't think Spanish food is better than Portuguese food. It's the similarities, the fundamental of the product that they use is very similar.
I think New Bedford is great too as like a place for like Portuguese people to have immigrated as well, because there's great seafood here too.
Yeah,
Like it really, like there really is. So I think it would be possible for, Portuguese restaurants and stuff to really, like if they came from Portugal, it's like, yeah, like dial in on, where you came from and serve the dishes that you grew up eating. Like I think
right.
it's the whole point.
Yeah,
That's why we do this, is to like share
yeah.
what you love
And
with
then there's
people.
a lot of things that 20, 30 years ago you couldn't really get around here, but now you're starting to see like for example, goose barnacles. Like you would never see goose barnacles 20, 30 years ago here around this area. But now you have the ability to get those kinds of products that you'll only see in Portugal, that are being shipped overnight to this country and being able to get it costly, but it's available out there. You know,
Yeah.
I would love to see like a traditional seafood Portuguese restaurant here in New Bedford that serves top quality seafood, grilled fish on charcoal, whole fish. I would love to see something like that in the city. I think it would do very well.
Yeah, and I think that would, yeah, I think it would do well, and it would also just be good for the restaurant scene, like showing people that it's like you can serve things other than the Portuguese steak and the shrimp
Right.
Mozambique. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can serve great food because there's great fish around here. Like
There
I'm
is.
I'm blown away by some of the fish that we get at Little Moss. That's local to where
Yeah.
I'm like, this is incredible. Like
Yeah.
it really is.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really cool. I like the Portuguese food and the culture and everything. It's really really cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to go there someday. I want to. The one of the goals with this is to like go to chefs and like sit next to their oven and like talk to them. So
Yeah.
it's really, I was trying to find a way where I could travel the world and talk to every chef I want to talk to.
Yeah.
So hopefully down the line I can,
Yeah. Yeah.
go to Portugal or
Yeah. You let me know when you want to go to Lisbon. Try to plan it around the same time. There's so many good restaurants in Lisbon that I go to that I always end up getting a kitchen tour, because I always ask. The worst they can say is no, you can't.
yeah,
But
exactly.
most people are like, yeah, come on in. We'll show you the kitchen around. And
Especially if you're a chef, like they're like,
yeah,
yeah, come, like, well,
yeah,
your family
yeah.
automatically,
A lot of
basically.
people, a lot of restaurants do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that for sure. So, you've been on Chopped and Cutthroat Kitchen. You won Chopped and you won Cutthroat Kitchen as well, right?
Correct.
What was being on those shows like? Like, what was your experience like? And then also, how do you think it like affected your career, like long term?
I don't think it affected my career. Um, I was just blessed to get into them. The Chop one, I went to an interview. They were having interviews when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. So I went to one of the interviews. I think it was like out of 150 chefs, I think only 9 of them made it to the show. It was a great experience. I didn't know until the day we actually met at Starbucks from the studio. I ended up finding out that I was competing with 2 of my friends from Atlanta and then a girl from Las Vegas. And I didn't know that. And one of them I knew extremely well. And I was just blessed to be there. I didn't like, of course, I wanted to win, but like, I didn't care because it was already a great thing to do to be put on my resume. Um, and I just went with a humble heart, and I was able to succeed and win the show. And then Cutthroat Kitchen, I applied online. I felt like that was one of the funniest shows I've ever seen in my life, and I was like, I'll bet if I get on this, I'm gonna laugh my whole entire time while I'm competing. And sure enough, I really did. Like that one, I really like. I went like super humble. Like I was like, I don't care about winning. I really don't. I just want to have a good time. And I ended up winning again, which was kind of really crazy. Um, but of course, you win money, but it's not the money that you win that makes you happy. It's all the open doors that gives you. You make the money after because you have two titles under you, which is you know one is hard to win, two is amazing, and I feel very very blessed that that happened. So that opened a lot of doors for me, not only career wise, but also opened doors to a lot of charities that I have donated my time for by being auctioned off. Different organizations. I probably have helped over 20 organizations in the last 13, 14 years since I moved back into the city. And that to me is more rewarding because I was able to help a lot of organizations when they have the event, if it's a wine tasting or if it's a gathering. Usually it's at a big hall. And what I do is I donate my time for a 4-course meal for 20 people at their house. And basically, I just go into their house, I cook them a 4-course meal, and I don't get paid anything. I just whatever they auction me off for. But I can say that in the last 14 years, for all the organizations I've done, I probably have raised probably close to 300, $400,000.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
And is this
yeah,
like a lot of New Bedford based places?
yeah. So my dear and biggest foundation that I make sure I donate pretty much every year is the Noah's Foundation, which is the organization who built that the Children's Handicap Park over at Pope Island, and that's my biggest organization. I always say yes to them, but I always have like other organizations in the area that I always donate to. Sometimes people who are diagnosed with cancer. I'll just be like, hey, during the event, I'm gonna auction myself off to try to raise money for the bills and stuff like that. So I just try to, as I'm getting a little bit older, I'm trying to, to kind of like pull back and not do so many because I have such a high demanding job that requires a lot of hours. So it's becoming increasingly hard for me to do those kinds of events. But I will continue to try to help the organizations, especially Noah's Foundation.
How does it feel to like, get to give back to the community that you've grown up in? Like you immigrated here
If
and now
it,
you get to,
yeah, no,
raise it up.
it feels great. It feels great. I mean, what better way to be able to donate to an organization that you're doing this for and raising a lot of money for, that's going to people who need help. How can that not make you feel good? You never know what tomorrow brings. Maybe tomorrow I will need it, and somebody might be there for me too. So you kind of like, you have to me, I'm all about giving. If it's going to help the organization, I'm all about giving. Sometimes I don't know how to say no. Sometimes I feel like I need Joe back, to try to be focused a little bit more on my daily routine of life as I'm growing older in this business. You get in your 50s and your body starts to hurt, your bone starts to hurt, and it just becomes hard. So you you try. That's why I always try to give as much as I can. But at the same time, now at this moment of my life, I have to kind of like start focusing a little bit more on my quality of life.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. What are some specific things you do to try to like improve your quality of life, like as a chef who's aging?
I just, I try to make sure that I always like on my days off that I'm doing something fun, either going out and trying a new place to eat, going out to Mother Nature, maybe go for a walk in the trail, go to the beach. I love going to the beach. I just try to, during my time off, it's my time off, and I want to
Yeah,
make sure that I'm decompressing to get ready for a busy week, and that's important in this business.
yeah. You have to decompress because if
Yeah,
you're just going,
yeah,
it's like going back to what we were talking about earlier. Like you're gonna burn out. You're
yeah,
just long term. Like
yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
yeah. Not good for it. Not good for the soul.
Yeah, I find something really critical, and I want to start doing solo episodes of this where I just talk about like one topic for like 20 or 30 minutes, like a little shorter one.
Uh
But
huh.
I think the first one I want to do is stretching, like for chefs specifically, and like that has been. I mean, I know I'm young and spry still, but it really was game changing for me. Like when I was in the first kitchen on my externship that I was talking about earlier. Never worked in a kitchen before, like 16-hour days. My body was just like literally falling apart. My big toes were going numb. That was an issue with my shoes. Shout out to Birkenstock. Um, but like stretching didn't just change everything physically because my body was tight. I was hurting all the time. I couldn't sleep. So it helped with that. But also just like I couldn't eat from anxiety. I didn't know it was anxiety at the time, but I couldn't eat. I was so stressed out. Like I was tweaking, like at a super,
Mm-hmm.
super high level. I lost like 30 pounds in a month. Like I was just not able to eat. I was stressed. And I remember the first time I did like a full body stretch right before I went to work. And it was like night and day. Like stretching for chefs specifically, I know it's important for everybody, but just in this industry, I think stretching is like crazy important. Like opening up your hip flexors, like internal, external rotation, keeping your hamstrings loose, like, dynamic stretching, twisting, stretching. So I want to put together like a little stretch like regimen for chefs specifically because I have one that I do every day, like pretty much twice
Mm-hmm.
religiously. And I'm not great at being consistent. I'm not. It's one of my flaws, but stretching is like one of my that's like bare minimum. Like if I don't stretch, especially before work, sometimes I forget. And then before a busy service, I'll like, go outside and literally do like a 7 minute full body stretch. And then I'm just like loose. I'm on the line. Like I feel good. And if I don't do it, I'm just slower. Like I don't feel as good during service. Like I think stretching is like critical.
Yeah.
If I could share that with like every chef and just get all of them like stretching, I think it would help a lot of people physically. Like as people get older, you stay more loose and ready to go, but also just mentally, like it goes back to that decompressing. Like that is the best way to decompress because you hold your emotions and your stress in your hips, and in your shoulders and in your back. Like hunched over the stove all day, like just
Mm-hmm.
opening it all up really
Yeah.
can have a crazy effect,
Yeah.
like big time. Um, so can you break down like where you've worked in New Haven, Connecticut, and then also Atlanta, and just like
Yeah.
what your time was like in those places?
So in Connecticut, I ended up working at the Union League Cafe, which was a very reputable French restaurant. All French interns in there. Just a couple of line cooks that were not French interns, and they were there on an 18-month visa. And then when they were over with their visa for the 18 months, two or three would go away, another two or three would come from France, and that's was the rotation. In Atlanta, I worked at Canoe, which was a great restaurant, still open today. Just really cool restaurant. At the time, everything was cooked on charcoal. We had a great chef over there. Then I went to South City Kitchen, which was the number one Southern restaurant in the Atlanta area because I wanted to learn about Southern cooking. And then after that, I stayed at Soto Soto for a long time, which we were very successful. Best Italian restaurant in the city, still is to me. Um, One of the best restaurants to open in 1999 by Bon Appetit magazine. Um, Best of Atlanta. Um, just the accolades, it just goes on and on and on. Then I left there and went to open a place called Allegro, which was an Italian restaurant. And that was very successful. The only problem was that we opened in 2008, and that was during the stock market crash.
Mm.
It was very tough during those days to keep a restaurant afloat, and it was in a bad area too. It was like at the end of a street, and we had good business. I got 3 out of 4 stars on the Atlanta Journal Constitution as a review. Got number 9 position out of 100 best restaurants on Jezebel magazine. Um, a lot of good accolades. Best pasta in Atlanta, but it was during the wrong time. It
Yeah,
was during the
the
wrong
timing
time.
was tough.
Yeah, it was just the timing. Yeah,
Um,
I have to go soon.
that's okay. We can wrap it up.
Yeah.
I only have this is like my last couple questions, so we can just
Okay.
do a little speed round.
Okay.
So what does music mean to you, and what instrument did you play to get a scholarship? Because I read that on your little New Beige
Oh
thing.
no, it wasn't an instrument. So when I graduated high school, I was really into music theater, and I there was a contest at Anna Maria College up in the Worcester area, and whoever won would get a full scholarship. And I did I sang.
Really?
Yeah, I sang, and I ended up winning, but I didn't go at the time. I felt like I wanted to just go to work and make money. So I ended up taking a job with my dad at the shipyard, being like an apprentice for pipe fitting and welding. And that's what I did for 5 years.
I was actually thinking that it might be singing because I remember at the Whale when we used to work together, you would like sing sometimes, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow, Joe has like an incredible voice. Like, like it kind of surprised me.
Yeah, that was my passion. I still sing every day in the shower.
Hell yeah. So I got 3 rapid fire ones we can bang off real quick. So one thing you want to say to, all the young people out there that might be interested in cooking, if you could share one piece of advice.
Just when you're starting to cook, go work for the best. That's it. Go work for the best. Stay there for a year and a half to 2 years, and then go work for another badass. That's my advice.
So just find the best you can find and
Yep.
and try to get the
As
most
much
you
as
can
you
out of
can,
them.
yeah. And write a journal. Definitely write
Oh,
a
yeah.
journal every day. Recipes, things you learn, things that are new, things that are going on, things that are gonna go on in the future. Just write everything down because that will help you.
Oh yeah. Top 3 cookbooks of all time. You can take a second to think. I know that's a
Oh
tough question.
Jesus! I really don't. I really don't have a like. You talking about recipes or biographies?
Just your favorite. It can be anything. Just books that
Kitchen Confidential. Um, oh man, I can't remember. There's a really good vegetable book which I let you borrow.
on vegetables.
Yes.
Yeah, I ended up buying that after I read
Yeah.
it.
On Vegetables
Yeah.
is an incredible book.
And what a great chef, Jeremy Fox.
Yeah.
Incredible story.
Yeah. Incredible. Incredible. And then there's another one that I can't remember. It's called, I think it's like the Italian Food Bible. And I have it at home. I haven't read it in a long time, but that's a great one as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then last question, what's your happiest food memory of your entire life? Like one thing that really inspired you to want to do what you do.
When I went to eat at Arzac in San Sebastian in Spain, a 3 Michelin star restaurant. The co-founder, the guy who changed all the dynamics of Spanish cooking, it wasn't really El Bulli, it was Arzac. He's the godfather. When I went there, kind of like changed my whole perspective of what I wanted to be as a chef.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for doing this, man.
All right, man.
I appreciate it.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was.
We talked about a lot of shit.